a little behind still. Parshyos with this Kislev, but this is connected to this week's parsha, like the Shalom writes that the parsha is connected to the Sedra. My shver grew up in the Bronx. His rabbi was Rabbi Schachter, Rabbi Herschel Schachter. It was a big shul in the Bronx. It's always gespielt. There's no Bronx, there's no shul, and he passed away this year. But he always spoke about the fact that he was a chaplain.
Army, yeah.
Yes, he was from the first liberators in Buchenwald. My father grew up in that shul. That's my wife's grandfather. So the story was that he said that there was, after the liberation, it was at night, and there was an American soldier. He saw someone moving behind some bushes, so he demanded the person should identify. The person ran away. It's trouble. Drew his gun, and the person went out of his hiding. In his hand, he was holding a menorah. The guy apparently, before the war, had hidden them, or at the wartime, hid a menorah, and it was right before Hanukkah. It was after the war. He went to get his menorah.
Right.
So the American soldier said, "Ich bin euch Hayid."
Whoa. Ooh.
He didn't know much Yiddish, but he knew a few words. So obviously, immediately they were very close. The American GIs that liberated Buchenwald, all the camps. I mean, they lived with nightmares their entire life.
What is so?
So this fellow decided he wants to sponsor this person to come with him to America. You know, a lot of American soldiers. There was a man in my shul that they liberated a camp. I forgot which camp it was. One of the girls, he liked the girl, and he married the girl. He brought her to America.
Wow. Buchenwald, the Americans freed
And funny thing was, she was from a Rebbe'she mishpocha.
Wow.
When she came here, the Kloisenberger Rebbe tried to achshidach. The funny thing is that she made this boy frum, and Baruch Hashem, they have two daughters today. They're both doctors. They daven today in a young Israel in one of the cities in America. And they're interesting. I'll get back to this in a minute, since I mentioned this wonderful woman. So he sponsored this fellow, came to America, lived in his house. So there was someone that dabbled in antiques. He saw the menorah and they had it in the house. I mean, he came, he put it in the family's, in the host family. He put it in their break front, in their china closet. So he said, "This is Azon Senazal. This is really, really a special piece. If you want." At that time, he offered him $3,000. A guy without a nickel in his pocket. He said, "That's the only thing I have left from my family. I don't want to sell it." Okay. Nisht is nisht. It was many years later, a couple of years later, it was a Hanukkah. He was still living with this family, with the host family that took him in. And it was Hanukkah, and he had a gorgeous menorah. They put his menorah at the window, and they lit the menorah, and someone was knocking at the door, a woman. She said, "I'd love to look at the menorah." They said, "Sure, come in." They showed the menorah. "What are you looking?" She said, "Well, this was my menorah for my house." They said, David! He comes downstairs. It was a mother and a son. They found each other.
Because
of this
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories.
Wait, where did that happen?
And somewhere in New York. It was a mother and a son.
Wow.
Because of yeah, we just had one.
And they didn't know that each other.
They didn't know that the menorah brought them together. Can you imagine?
He told us.
Mike Fair told us, yeah. He said for his.
Wow.
Yeah. So there is the Shalom writes that there is a connection between Parshas Vayshev and the story of the whole story of Vayshev and Hanukkah. There's a connection between Vayshev and Hanukkah. In order to understand the Shalom, let's learn the story, the Rashi, the Ramban, and then we'll look into the Shalom.
The Asra Muhammad, they all talk.
But this is a little. This hits a chord. This one. As I said, we're a little hinterstellig. It's the story of Yosef. It's vayshev. Usually we do the next week's parsha. So let's start with the Ramban, and then we'll go to Rashi. Yoimar, ki hu toya min haderech v'lo yoidea elna yelach. The Ramban says he was lost in a field. He didn't know where to go. Yosef's father sent him, and he said, "Rei no shloim achecha v'shloim atzoin." He said, "Go to Shechem to find out how the brothers are doing." He got lost in the road. Why is the Tosik telling us Yosef got lost? And what is irrelevant to the whole story that he got lost? Maybe Yosef had a sneeze and a snuffle, and he went somewhere and he got a tissue box, and what's every detail in the Torah is important to the entire story.
You want to tell us something happened on the way when he got lost. That's why they say
He bumped into a man. Why is it relevant that he got lost? So the Ramban says, "V'yarech hakosav lahagid kisibes rabas boilov sheiroi lachzer loy aval hakol sov l'chavav." He suffered. He got lost. That normal person said, "Okay, sure. You know what, Daddy? I went. I came. I got lost in the field. You know what? They disappeared for a couple of days. Don't worry. They'll be back. They'll be back. I know them. Don't worry." No, he didn't do that. Lokovad Oviv, he suffered. Loidein oid im agzeida emes achiritzus sheker ki zimala kadosh baruch hu moire derech shalom edaite lavi liyodam. It's not going to help because that was the Eibishter was goyze, he was going to fall into their hands. Lachad zen iskaver b'seinu b'omrim ki ishim eilu malachim shlal chinam hoya kol asipar ezel ludeinu ki atzaz Hashem mitoch. And then what does the man tell him? Nosu mizeh, hisiu atzmo min ha'achva. Nosu mizeh doesn't mean Rashi says that they traveled from here. He said, Es acha nochim avakesh, eifeim roim. He said, where were my brothers? So the man said, Nosu mizeh. Ki shamayti oimrim, I heard they say, Neilcha doisona. So Rashi says, hisiu atzmo min ha'achva. Neilcha doisona lavakesh lacha nichlei dosois sheyimesucha bahem. Rashi said, what's again the whole long thing? Nosu mizeh ki shamayti oimrim neilchem beisoina. The Rashi says that's not pshat. Rashi says that this is a medrash that says, and which is really a Gemara, he said, I overheard them speaking. They want to kill you. They want to kill you. So be careful. Rashi says, it's a place. That's what Rashi says. Rashi says, really, they left Shechem. According to the first shot, it sounds like they never left Shechem. They went to Shechem, but he just told them, by the way, I heard that they want to kill you. But Rashi says, no, they actually left Shechem and they went to Doisan, and that's what happened. Okay.
But that's not the pshat.
That's your pshat, the pashta pshat. Ramban argues, "Ve'ena kavona l'Rabbeinu sheyafarish lo ish nosa min ha'achva v'hol chol oyer alechet dinim v'taremet shim kein hoy nimna milechet v'lo hoy mesaken atzmoi." How could you say such a thing? That the Malach would tell him they want to kill you, and he keeps on walking. Why would he keep on walking? Avala kavona lahem keish Gabriel asher dover diber lo higid emes v'omer lo shem mishamish l'shnei ponim. He said something that means, this. Translated in two ways. He didn't understand the hidden message here. Gabriel told him in a hint. He hinted to him what's going to happen. But he didn't say those words. He said they went to Doisan. He said it with the strange words. He said, He should have realized that something's wrong. But he didn't realize. Okay.
Why didn't the Malach just tell him Pashat? What's the reason of...
Because that's what he said before, because that's a Shemitah. Okay. He doesn't say as if he's arguing with Rashi. He's saying that that's a pshat in Rashi. Couldn't be, he says, that the Malach walked over to Yosef and said, they're going to kill you. And he keeps on walking. Why would he keep on walking? So he didn't tell him. He just said these words. If Yosef would have thought deeply, but David didn't want him to realize, so he made it that he doesn't realize what's being told. But if you look at the words of Rashi, it doesn't really sound that way. It sounds like Rashi holds that that's what he told him. So let's look at the Rashi, and then let's look at the Rashi in the Gemara, which in the Rashi in the Gemara it's even more explicit. Let's skip the Rashi. Time is short. I mean, he already quoted the Rashi. Let's look at the Rashi in the Gemara. It says Mishchem Gonvu. Now the Gemara says that why did they bury him in Shechem? Because they stole him from Shechem, so they delivered him. The Shvatim, they stole him from Shechem, so they delivered him back to Shechem. That's what the Gemara says. Mishchem Gonvu. Kedeksiv Rashi says, this is in the Gemara cited at Yud Gimel of the base. Kedeksiv, the third piece on the page. Kedeksiv, it says in the pasuk V'Shlachem Eimek Chebron V'Yav Shechem V'Shema Yoroi. V'Doisen Rashi says Einoi Mokem. Doisen does not exist. If you're going to take a world map and look for the city of Doisen, you can look and look and look. You're never going to find it.
It's a town in Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's after they took it from the Tanakh. Like Goshen, there's like 100 places from the Tanakh.
V'Doisen Einoi Mokem. V'Hai Dechsiv Hayomer Ish Nosum Izeh Kach Omer Loi. You say, I'm looking for my brothers. Let me tell you, fellow. They traveled away from this brotherhood. They don't consider themselves brothers. The Malach is saying this to Yosef, Hatzadik. So in this Rashi, it's clear, it's crystal clear from this Rashi that Rashi holds that he told them the secret. Rashi says, Doisen Einon Shem Mokim. There's no place on the map called Doisen. So what did he tell him?
No, he told him.
Look what. So what did he tell him? He said, "We're my brothers." He said, "Go to Doisen." Rashi said, "There's no place in Doisen. Doesn't exist." He told them they're going to kill you. That's it. That's what Rashi says. So. It's clear, Rashi doesn't hold like that on Ban. Rashi hold, even in Pshuta Shem Mikra, where Rashi says that a Mikra, Yotzim B'dei Pshuta, that there was a city called Doisan, but it also, Rashi doesn't seem to hold like that on Ban, that it was a Remes. Rashi holds, the only difference between the Gemara and the Chumash is that in the Gemara he goes with the Drash. He says there is no city Doisan. He told them they're going to kill you. And in the Chumash, there was a city Doisan, but he said the words pretty clear. It wasn't that Emes. He told them they're going to kill you. Either way.
But one thing, if he said to him, "We're going to kill you," then why would he tell him where they went?
He told them that's where they are, and they're planning to kill you.
So why would he say, "If they're planning to kill you, go home"?
Avoid that spot.
Yeah, why did he continue?
Don't go there. Oh, why would he go there?
Yeah, why?
Guy told him they're in Doisan. Don't go there. Go anywhere. Just don't go to Doisan.
Because his father asked him to do it.
Who told him to go? His father.
His father. Keep it avain.
Mission accomplished. You know, in like the army, mission accomplished. No matter what, they
The
shot
Rebbe
on you or not.
has a moide de kalomdis. It's simple and it's beautiful. It shines. There is a machloikes rishonim, and it even works out, as we see in a moment, the shittas. There's a machloikes rishonim. The din is, there's only 3 mitzvahs a person is obligated to get killed for. Avodah Zorah, Gilui Arayah, Shmichas Damim. Other ones, he's not obligated. How about if a person says he wants to get killed anyway? He wants to get killed. A machloikes.
The Rambam says you're not allowed.
The Rambam says, Tosis says you're allowed. Very good. Oh, David, very good. The Rambam says, "Kol mishen emar b'yaver v'al yorev v'nereg v'lo yover." And he's a mischayev b'nafsho, terrible thing. He's not allowed to do it. Tosfos says, "Shleimim v'cheirabim soivrim dim nereg v'lo yover tzedakah t'chashav loy." Tosfos lived in the time of the Crusades. You know what happened in the time of the Crusades?
So it's not responsible.
Yeah, people killed themselves, their families. So Tosfos says no, Rambam is wrong. That was later. That's not Tosfos' time. So we have a machloikis. So the Rebbe says very simple, very simple. The Ramban holds like the Rambam, and not only that, it's mefurish in the Sefer Torah Adam from the Ramban that he holds like the Rambam. So the Ramban holds that a person is not allowed to put his life on the line if it's not one of the 3 mitzvahs. Kibbud Avim is not one of the 3 mitzvahs. So you can't say, says the Ramban, that the angel told him they're going to kill you and he keeps on walking. It's forbidden. It's forbidden. But the Rashi holds like his grandchildren, the Balei HaTosfos, that that if Midas Chasidus, a person could die al Kiddush Hashem, even of one of the other 613 mitzvahs. Therefore, Rashi holds, no, pshat, that he told it to him opened, and he still went, because he knew he's going to get killed, but he didn't care. He didn't know he's going to get killed. He told him that that's what they're planning. It was a suffix, it wasn't a vadai, but still, the Ramban holds it's inconceivable. The guy is going to go into a place of danger. It's asur. It's not one of the three Avedas. Rashi holds, no, like the Tosfos, that he's allowed to. That's the Rebbe's pshat.
And what is the reason why he's doing that?
And the truth is, this case was even worse because there is a discussion. Even those that hold that you're allowed to in Tosfos, that you're allowed to die, it's for the 365 loitasei. If a person is allowed to do Mesiras Nefesh for mitzvah say is a separate discussion if that's permissible. That's another discussion. If you know the Chassidim, the Rebbe asked that this was an interesting thing. If you read, for example, there was a fellow that was in jail for 20 years in Siberia. 20 years. He was tormented. They put him after the war. They put him in a special camp with Nazis that were captured in the war. Wow. They put him in the camp with Nazis, and they made it known that he's Jewish. And he survived. I was like, this guy was 20 years, and he never once ate chametz on Pesach. But you can imagine one of he writes his memoirs. He wrote a pen name. He published it in the time of the Soviet Union. He published it under Avrom Netzach. But all the Babishers knew his name was Laser Nanas.
Who?
Laser Nanas.
There's a book, Sabota.
Sabota, right? And if you have never read this book, I suggest you buy it.
What's it called? Sabota?
Sabota.
Oh,
yeah.
In Russia is Minshar.
I didn't know it was
Yeah, he came to the Rebbe after he went out of Russia.
I had it.
The Rebbe told him, these 20 years are not counted in your life. That's it. He died a very, very old man in Yerushalayim, almost 100 years old. The Rebbe told him, yeah? The Rebbe told
You
him,
see in his face a malach. Yeah. Malach. You see his face? Like white malach.
the Rebbe said those 20 years are not counted.
His
They're
eyes
not
was
counted.
like,
That was just not part of the thing. So he describes a few of his Pesach that were moidedik, that he had nothing. He didn't have any matzah. They only gave bread, and so he had a couple of cubes of sugar, which day 1, 2, and 3 he ate the couple of cubes of sugar, and then he fasted. In one of the Pesachs he almost died. He fasted he drank water. And he almost died. Mamish, he waited till it was already Shkia and Tzeisak Echovim after the 8th day, and he ate a very little bit because he knew if he eats too much he'll die. And then it took him a whole month to nurse himself back to life. Could you imagine? When the Chassidim came to America one at a time, the Rebbe asked, can anyone tell me what happened Pesach, Sukkos? At Pesach, Chassidim had an incredible Mesiras Nefesh. The Rebbe said, what happened Sukkos? He said, Sukkos. We build a sukkah. So that was it. The Rebbe didn't say anything. But a couple of years ago, the memoirs were published from the Rebbe's mother. They still didn't print it as a book. They gave it out in little booklets. It's still in print. I don't know why it wasn't printed yet. But it was remarkable. They found it a couple of years ago, her memoirs. She wrote a diary for herself, the Rebbe's mother. And it was things about her son. It was just remarkable. And they said they're going to publish it as a book. Never published it. But anyway, she wrote there that her husband was in the gulags, and it came sukkahs. How can you eat out of a sukkah? So he came up with this brilliant thing. He was so frail, Nebuch, but he convinced the owners of the house where he lived, that he convinced them that they need a foyer in front of their house. And he said he's a builder. He can build a foyer. So they said, okay, you're a builder, show us what you can do. So he built a wall and another wall and a thing, and he's building slowly. The kid said 8 days of sukkahs, he had a kosher sukkah.
Wow. I heard a story today that there was one guy who was caught outside during Pesach, caught outside after the curfew in Auschwitz. And the Nazi guard comes over and says, what are you doing here? Says, I'm looking for grass. He said, grass here? He said, yeah, what do you need grass for? He said, I need for Passover bitter herbs. And I could, if I eat the grass, it'll be a bitter herb. I have nothing else. So he says, what do you need bitter herbs for? You got enough bitterness here in this camp. He said, with this bitter herb, we're gonna defeat you. We're gonna be, you're gonna be gone, and we're gonna survive.
Scorchers.
And the Nazi was so startled by this answer, he just said, "Yeah." And the guy survived and told us.
So that's the difference of mitzvah say and loita say. Over here, it wasn't even a loita say; it was a mitzvah say. So he had no obligation to that's the machloikis. Rashi holds that yes, it was still permissible for him to go, and the Ramban holds it was not permissible. The shaila still remains. What was like the mission here?
What would, didn't he consider, or is there an issue, what did his father think? Would his father want him to risk his life to do this?
Presumably, and this is not the
father
father
was
didn't
saying-
realize that that's what's
No, but
happening.
I'm saying,
Why didn't he go back and tell his father?
no, I'm sitting here, let's say hypothetically Yaakov knew about it.
He wouldn't send him. He would never send him if he knew.
Exactly, so Yosef shouldn't have gone, because he knew his father would not approve.
So,
Very
let's-
good.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
Not the question of the sicha, but there's soon going to be a nekuda that's going to answer your question. The question is,
if Yaakov allowed to send somebody to do something
Yaakov didn't
dangerous.
think it was dangerous.
If I
He
send
thought-
somebody and he gets hurt on the job, I'm responsibility.
What? But Yaakov didn't
But-
think that he would
But
get hurt.
Yaakov knew
Yaakov
that the
knew-
brothers hated
Yaakov
him.
knew.
not to that extent. Again, pshat.
Oh, okay.
So
So
they
he
thought they were gonna
He
kill him.
didn't think that way. So the question still remains, what do you mean, you have Mesiras Nefesh? What was the job here? The mission was, go
see
to
what?
Shechem and give me a Shiveni Dover. Come back and give me a report. If
What
they're
did he-
going to get killed,
And what did he need a report
if he's
for?
going to get killed, he's never going to give a report.
Exactly.
And even furthermore, according to the Pshat, that they were still in Shechem, like that there was no such thing as Doisen. They were really in Shechem, so at least he was doing his father's job. If you say that they were already not in Shechem, so that way he already wasn't doing his father's job. I mean, obviously you could say that the father didn't mean Shechem, just the main thing was to give me a report. But then if you say the point was give me a report, but he was not, if he was going to get killed, what kind of report is he going to give? He's not going to be able to give a report.
And why can't he give a report that I went? The Anan is.
And
They're
this
not-
guy, oh,
and they want to kill me.
the Rebbe has a murder, a second
Give
shidduch.
me another vest.
That's
A bulletproof vest.
That's not the report the father wanted.
Turn it to a scene. Give me.
Well,
And
what-
Yaakov
Give me
didn't
another
want
bullet.
it.
Maybe it would have been Lashon Hara.
But let me ask you
No.
a question.
Yeah.
Good.
People go to Hebron.
Yeah.
People go to Hebron. Is it safe to go by yourself to Hebron in the car?
No.
Can a person do that on their own? I want to go to Hebron. I
That's
want
a
to
good
drive
question.
by myself.
Can't answer this question.
So how does one know? How does one know what is right?
There
You
has
say
to be,
Tefillah direct before you go. and
if
then you go.
it's the
I mean-
Gemara says if it's Borei Hezekah, if it's a thing that the danger is real and imminent, a person is forbidden to go in that place. That's why
We don't know, but you don't know if it's imminent. You don't know. You really don't.
it's a good question.
We
It's
do
a
know
very
there's
good
a-
question.
But I don't. I mean,
It's
is
a very
there an
good
answer?
question.
I mean, is there
It's
a real answer?
ארץ ישראל זה
Listen.
מקום בטוח.
It's, you have to.
Because I believe me, I know people that go, you know, but they go in hundreds,
Right.
stands and
זה
stuff.
מסכים.
I used to go in the car, I mean,
Right.
before the,
The simple,
before pre-Arafat days.
right. The simple pshat is that if it's danger, a person is not allowed to go. Obviously, now we're discussing is it permissible for a person to sacrifice their life even when they're not obligated. But according to simple pshat, if it's danger, a person is not allowed to put himself here. What is the Nebuchadnezzar Yosef says a remarkable thing? He says there's a new concept. He says that even the Rambam will agree.
Who is it?
The Nebuchadnezzar Yosef.
Who is it?
Nebuchadnezzar Yosef is a student of the Rif. Wrote a commentary on the Rif.
In the Gemara.
So he writes a remarkable thing. He says, Odam Godel v'chosed yire shamayim v'roya shador porutz. Rashi l'kadosh es Hashem v'limser atzma afil al mitzvah kala kedei sheyiru ha'om v'lomd. That if a person sees that the whole generation is careless about a certain mitzvah, if he's gonna get killed about that mitzvah, it's gonna make a tumult in the whole world.
Because he's a famous guy, like a big Rav, right? A big time.
Like Eliezer, who was, they tried to, that Antiochus said, you're gonna bow? He said, not gonna bow. So they said they're gonna kill him. He said, I don't care. You know what? They said, eat a piece of pig. That's not even a lot to say. What is it? Eat a piece of chazer. So he refused. And he was killed. But the killing him galvanized the whole, that riled up the whole Jewish people, that story. That story was like the beginning of the revolt. So this is the story that the Nemuka Yosef says. A person that sees that there's something that generation is careless about a certain mitzvah, and if it'll make a brouhaha, he's allowed to get killed over it. What happened? Yosef, in his mind, the brothers were not very respectful of the father. Father says something, Reuven, Shimon, they said, okay, we're killing Shechem. Yaakov says something, they say differently. And then in general, the whole thing, Yosef, his father loves him. In Yosef's perspective, when they hate him, that's disrespectful to Yaakov Avinu, right? Yaakov says, I want to give a special jacket to one son. And they say, rah, 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 that's not fair, right? So who's that disrespectful to?
Yeah.
To Yaakov Avinu. To Yaakov Avinu. Yeah. So he said, the dor poretz bekach, what's the thing that they are lacking most is kibbud. So he was willing to show them that he's going to get killed just for the mitzvah of kibbud av. Now this brings us to the Shalom. Shalom HaKodesh says Chanukah and Atazah. You got it. That's the
Eliezer HaMaccabee.
Eliezer HaMaccabee and Yosef HaTzadik is the same story. The Shalom says that whenever there's a Yom Tov in a certain parsha, if you look deep in the parsha, you'll find a connection. And the example that the Shalom gives in Parshas Vayshev is the story of Yosef. And he doesn't say it exactly this. He says in general, he says that Nachshavnu katzoin tivcha, limser nafshenu lekadosh shemoy hagodol, v'zeu tzoin Yosef, chana v'shiva boneo, edim nemonim al kiddush Hashem hamiyuchad. He said he draws the parallel between the story of Chana and her 7 sons and the story of Yosef HaTzadik. What was the story of Chana and her 7 sons? The question was that the boy should bow not really to Avodah Zarah. He should bow just to pick up the ring. Yeah. He's not bowing to Avodah Zarah. So really he's doing nothing. He's just picking up a ring. But the boy said, but the people looking, they will think that I am bowing to Avodah Zarah. And so therefore he allowed himself to get killed because people shouldn't think that he's bowing to Avodah Zarah. That was Mesidas Nefesh. That didn't make sense. He wasn't obligated for such a Mesidas Nefesh. Similar to Yosef. Yosef wasn't obligated with this Mesidas Nefesh. But he did it anyway.
To bring a point.
To make a point. Now, says Dr. Rebbe, we can understand the Moira de Kazach. Now we understand the Moira de thing. When we say Aneirus Halolu, and also when we say V'Alanisim, and also in the Rambam when he talks about the story of Chanukah, we keep on emphasizing that this miracle was Al Yedei Koyanecha HaKadoshim. Al Yedei Koyanecha HaKadoshim. Al Yedei Koyanecha HaKadoshim. Al Yedei Koyanecha HaKadoshim. Al Yedei Koyanecha. Again and again. What's Al Yedei Koyanecha HaKadoshim? The Rambam also, that he writes the whole story and he says, Ad Shiricham Aleim Elakei Aviseinu V'Yashiyim Miyodam V'Tzilim V'Govru Beis Chashmono Koyanim HaGedoyl. B'mei Matisyo Yochanan Kohen Gadol. What's the story here? Why do we emphasize? It was a miracle. They were Jews, a band of people. They got up. What's Negeya so much that there were Al Yedei Koyanecha HaKadoshim? What's Negeya? There was Yochanan Kohen Gadol. What's Negeya? Govru Beis Chashmono Kohen HaGedoyl. The answer is simple. Because we just said that Odom Gadol v'Choset v'Yorei Shamayim can make a point. Is allowed to make a point that he's going to get killed, even though he's totally not obligated. And he's going to get killed on Kiddush Hashem. What was the story of the Chashmonoim? The story of Eliezer, for example. Or this, in general, the whole revolt of the Chashmonoim. So even you say, the Gemara says that if there is a Gezeidah, If there is a gzeid of shemad, that like the Rambam writes that stands up a melech rosha like a Nebuchadnezzar, and he says that the Yidden should be mevatel their religion or one mitzvah. So they're obligated to have Mesiras Nefesh. And over here we have in Megillas Antiochus that he made a specific Zayda Antiochus against Mila, Shabbos, and Chodesh. These three. So that's why the Rambam emphasizes. The Rambam writes in the beginning of Hilchas Chanukah, Bebeis Sheinik, Shamol Chayavan Gozer Gzeidus Al Yisrael, Ubitlu Dosam. It was a Gzeidus Shemad. So because it was Gzeidus Shemad, so the Jews were obligated to have Mesiras Nefesh even for the slightest mitzvah, even for Mila. Usually Mila, you're not obligated to have Mesiras Nefesh for Mila. You're not obligated to have Mesiras Nefesh for Shabbos. You're not obligated to have Mesiras Nefesh for setting the calendar or for Chodesh. But they were obligated. You're obligated. Still, even though they were obligated, but wait a minute, what were they obligated to do? Mesiras Nefesh means that they were obligated to do the mitzvah on the pain of death. But now to band together a group of people against a superpower and to think that they're gonna ambush them and they're gonna kill them, that's ludicrous. That's crazy. That absolutely makes no sense. That makes no sense. So even though there's laws of war, obviously you're allowed to go, you can't say that war, obviously when Jews are allowed to go out, there's laws of war, obviously, but in this case, the way it's described in the Alanissim, and the way it's described in Megillas Antiochus and so on, it wasn't like going out in war and the odds were more favorable to the other side, less favorable to our side. It sounded like a suicide mission, like an absolutely crazy mission. And they said, we're going to do it. So who gave them the right to do it? The answer is Al Yedei Koyanecha Hakdoshim, Al Yedei Koyanecha Hakdoshim, Al Yedei Koyanecha Hakdoshim, Al Yedei Koyanecha Hakdoshim. Because we say that the din is that if it's a person which is a Kodesh and a Yiddish Shemayim, that person, if he's a Odom Godel Chassid Yiddish Shemayim, he's allowed to have Mesiras Nefesh to make a point. He's allowed to have Mesiras Nefesh to make a point. Therefore, the Rebbe wanted to know, did anyone make a point? It's not, Rebbe, it was a Shiloh that were obligated to build a sukkah under these circumstances. It makes sense. Obviously, not obligated. The Rebbe wanted to know, did someone make a point? Did someone make a point? So this was the story, that's why we emphasize that this story was Al Yedei Koyanecha Kedoshim. We emphasize that it was B'mei Matasyahu ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Because they were Kohen Gadol, therefore they had the permission to galvanize the people to make a revolt which seemed like a total suicide mission. And if you think about it, Dr. Rebbe, really this is the absolute opposite of what the Yizvonim stood for. What did the Yizvonim? They said, let's be logical. Let's sit down at the negotiating. Let's negotiate something here. They said, Lashkicham Torah Secha. Chassidus says, they said, learn Torah. But what is it? Logic to the Torah, but not Torah Secha, the Eibishter, the holiness of the Torah they didn't like. They didn't go and break the barrels of oil and spill the oil out. No, they're not going to waste oil.
They were Reformed Jews.
They're going to be right. They're just going to break the seal of the Kohen Gadol. They're going to be metame the oil. They're not going to waste oil, to break, to destroy. No, they're not in the business.
They put a finger
They put the finger, they break the seal.
They couldn't use it.
It's breaking of the seal. No, use the oil, but use it as a tome.
That's very complex.
That's
what
why
they
they
needed to
use
do
it
to
to
make it
produce
tame.
it.
The bottom line is they made it tame, but they didn't spill out the
They
oil.
didn't waste it.
That was the point. We're not wasting. You have your beautiful temple, and you'll have candles. We understand. We also have Yotzmach candles. But it doesn't have to be pure oil. That's not logical. Tumah, right? Tumah and tahara. Tumah and tahara. That's nonsensical.
And they were allowed to light it.
Beyond nature.
They were allowed to even light it, but even therefore, because they had Mesiras Nefesh,
Super rational.
which wasn't exactly. And the same thing is with mitzvahs. La'avire mechuke retzenecha, edus and mishpatim. They didn't care if Jews do mitzvahs that are mishpatim, logical mitzvahs. Chukim they didn't like, and even chukim. Which kind of chukim didn't they like? Chukei Ritzonecha. So the Rambam says, the Rebbe explains that there's a concept. Not every detail of every law has to be logical. You're going to start arguing on every letter of every law. Some rules have to be made. So that's it. You could say, you know what? The reason we have these rules, they don't really make sense. But rules, you got to make some rules for the game. No, the Jews said chukim we do because the Eibishter said to do. That's what they didn't like. La'avira mechukei ritzonecha. You want to do Eid is fine, Mishpatim fine. You want to even do chukim, they're nonsensical. But you say, look, this is tradition. Tradition, okay, shine. Because we have to keep tradition. But to say you're doing it not for tradition's sake, you're doing it because the Eibishter said. The laws of Tumah V'Tara irked them. The most that irked them are the laws of Tumah V'Tara, because they're nonsensical. They don't make any sense. There's no logic. And especially Shemen, which shows on Chochmah, they said the Chochmah could be tummy, could be defiled. It could be Chochmah, but it doesn't have to be holy Chochmah. Infused with something which is beyond Seichel, super rational. And what the Chashmonaim said? The Chashmonaim said no. They had Mesidas Nefesh. Mesidas Nefesh is the opposite of the whole philosophy of the Yevonim. The Levonim's philosophy is rational. They said no, we are super rational. That we're beyond logic. Therefore, they had Mesidas Nefesh. And therefore, even though Al Pidin would be they're allowed to light the candles with the Tomei, because the majority of the congregation was Tomei, and you're allowed. But the Eibush just showed this love to the Jewish people, Mida Keneged Mida. The antidote to the Yevonim was the Chashmonaim. They were the opposite. The Yevonim said, let's be rational. They said, no. A Jew has in his heart the power of Mesidas Nefesh, that connection to Hashem, which is beyond logic. So, exactly. They're bankrupt. But you know, the Fabrengen that we had, the Yutas Kislev, Rabbi Nachman Yosef Tversky had a beautiful heart. In Tanya, the Alter Rebbe emphasizes so much the idea of Mesidas Nefesh. Today, in the 21st century, Baruch Hashem, we're living in the United States. We don't see how Mesidas Nefesh is so important. Why is Mesidas Nefesh so important? So there's many reasons why it's very important. But this one point that Rabbi Tversky made was very sweet. A person says to himself, who am I? Like we learned the Shabbos Amayim, a person says, who am I? Am I the Shabbos Jew or the Sunday Jew? Am I the Yid who is inspired sometimes? I want to be so close, feel so spiritual. My purpose in life is to serve Hashem. And therefore all I want to do is really, what does Hashem want from me? And that's it. That's my whole focus. Or, Rachmana litzlan, sometimes we fall into, Ruach Shtus, and we're totally worldly, and we totally forget about our neshama and our aspirations of the neshama, and our head is swirling in all kinds of other places. And we're drawn in a very strong way there. So who are we? We're the Yid of Shabbos and the Yid of Sunday. We're the Yid that loves Hashem, or we're the Yid, which loves Olam Hazeh. So the Alter Rebbe says, if push comes to shove, and you had to make a choice, what was your choice? For sure it would be Mesidas Nefesh. So now you know where you really are. Now you know where you really are. Because if it really came to it, and you lived in the times of the Crusaders, if you lived in the time of the Inquisition, if you lived under Stalin, and you were pushed to the wall, what would you choose? You would choose Mesidas Nefesh. Oh, so you are Matisyo ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol. So now you know who you really are. Every Jew really is Matisyo ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol. But we have to dig into ourselves and find that really we are Matisyo ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Time for doing that is Chag HaChanukah. Chanukah reminds us that really we have in us, we have that power of Yochanan Kohen Gadol within us. Maybe should help. Every one of us should find the Yochanan Kohen Gadol in us. Not only that will fire up our own neshama, but it should be contagious to all the ones around us. L'chaim, l'chaim.